Cut off. Some dope tried calling me on my phone, and I guess it made my YouTube thing crash. Guess I need to tell my friends, like, hey, don't be calling me. I got your number. If I want to talk to you, I'll call you. So where were we? Yeah, about modeler, which is sort of the classic way the guitar players tend to do this, which is one of the reasons I do it, because I steal most of my ideas from guitar players. Or you can use distortion pedals. We have a number of distortion pedals that'll fit very nicely on your pedal board that you've got. Somebody's asking me a question here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a whole, wow, that's a whole different discussion. I will get to that. I'll send you a link or something after this. So you can add a distortion pedal to your current, or, you know, hey, I just use distortion once in a while. It's not my whole thing. You can use the distortion pedal. We really like the Soul Food, the Electro-Harmonix Soul Food. We like, and that gives you sort of like a low to medium amount of gain. If you're really a metal guy, if you really like that heavy distortion thing I'm using, there's a pedal called the Metal Muff, and there's reviews for these on our YouTube page. Don't ask me to grab one right now. I'm not wired up for that. But if you look on our YouTube page, you can find reviews of the Soul Food and the Metal Muff pedal. One thing that I've found actually is if you will take a distortion pedal and then put a cabinet simulator after that distortion pedal, it opens them up a lot. Distortion pedals, a lot of times people hear distortion on electric violin, they're like, meh, it doesn't sound that great. One of the reasons is because it just sounds so tight. If you put a cabinet simulator after that, and we have one, it's called the Moore Radar pedal. We actually sell a fair number of those to you guys that are using impulse responses for your violin sound. The reason guitar players buy these things is because that's a cabinet simulator. I've got a bunch of cabinets in my Helix, but again, maybe if you don't want to spend almost $2,000 on a unit, you can spend $100 and some on a Moore Radar pedal, and it's got a bunch of different cabs in there, 210s and 410s and 212s and 1/8s and all these different cabinets. And if you put a cabinet simulator after your distortion pedal, it opens them up a lot. The other thing that you can do if you want to sound more like a guitar player is to use a wah pedal. You know, that's what I've got in here. You can hear me working that heel. Here's heel down to toe down, back to heel down. So it sort of puts that. The other thing I'm doing in there that you'll hear some delay. That's it's a ping pong delay I'm using there. That's a thing guitar players use a whole lot. Using too much delay just makes everything sound muddy. A little bit of delay just sort of makes things sound a little smoother, smoother, creamier. So it just gives a little bit of tail to that stuff. It just sort of smooths things out while you're playing. A lot of people will talk about a compressor pedal. Guitar players tend to use compressors a lot because they're so dynamic. A guitar can go from super, super quiet to super, super loud, like way more than violins even, believe it or not. And they also tend to be really transient heavy, where we sort of operate in a little bit tighter window. A guitar player, when he hits that pick, that is super, super loud. Well, if he uses a compressor pedal, he can get more sustain out of that note because it takes that decay, that logarithmic decay that he gets when he hits the string and then lets it ring, and it shrinks that. So it makes that decay last longer, which is what they use as a sustain pedal. We have these. So I don't really need a compressor. Honestly, I have a right hand, and if you can't control that right hand, then we got other problems. The only time I really use as a compressor is if I'm using a wah pedal that gets really bitey on the top end. I may compress after that wah pedal. But apart from that, I have a volume pedal. I have a right hand. So I don't use them. We certainly don't need them for sustain. We have the bow. If you've got some tones that maybe are a little bitier, if you've got an auto wah tone or something, you can stick a compressor in there, but they typically sell them, like they will sell them as sustain pedals for guitars. They act very, very different for violins. So that's what's going on there. The other thing I'll say, we talked about double stops. Know that when you're testing your distortion sound, you want to test it with both single notes and double stops. So that's got a little fuzz on it, well, a fair amount of fuzz on it. But you may think, gosh, it's just not thick enough. When you play single notes, it may not be thick enough. When you play double stops, it may get too thick. It might be too interferency. So you want to kind of maybe shoot for that middle ground where your single note tone is not quite gainy enough, but your double stop tone is more what you're looking for. I will say that after many, many years of doing this, and when I started doing this young, I was like, yeah, if a little is good, more is better. That's not really true with gain necessarily. What happens when you start jacking that gain all the way up is things start getting really muddy really fast. Now, if you're trying to, you just want to, and you don't want to, you're kind of getting hung out a little bit, like you can't really play that fast, but you want to sound like you're playing that fast, yeah, you just gain the crap out of it. It's just like, you played a lot of notes. We don't know what any more, but there are a lot of notes in there. That's what gain does to you. So when in doubt, if you're trying to decide between, what the real players tell you is that more volume, less gain. So turn the whole thing up a little bit, turn the gain down some, and that's gonna give you a better, more pleasing sound. Gain it's gonna hide a lot of things, but it may be hiding the things that you want people to hear. My face, LOL. It's the only face I got, man. Sorry, I'm stuck with this one, and so are you. So what am I going to do? I wanted to play another tune for you guys, and you can sort of see some of the things we talked about. Mindset, if you're thinking like a guitar player, you can emulate a guitar player better. So think about what it is that a guitar player does, and that's going to help you get more into that mindset. Your right hand, you're going to use your right hand to sort of cover a lot of those different things that guitar players can do, where we're doing some of these type things, where we're staying off string, let it ring, doing some grinding, and then legato versus picked. For us, it's slurred versus changing bows. See how much different that sounds, especially with distortion on it. Left hand, guitar players do lots of bends, so we're going to do lots of sliding up and down the neck. So you want to keep your pressure on your left hand really light so that you can do that sliding. If you're clamped down on this thing, you can't really slide very easily. And also with that light touch, you can also get a lot of the harmonic type sounds that you maybe are trying to avoid on your acoustic violin, but they sound really cool when you're doing rock and with distortion. Also, vibrato, we're not going to do a proper vibrato. This ain't Mozart. This is, Motley Crue. So lots of that. And then if you want some thick and some angry and some meaty, we're going to get some double stops in there. Okay? So I'm going to play another tune for you guys. You can sort of listen for those things. And, yeah. Ah! Man, they don't listen, man. All right, so that was actually one of my tunes off my release that just came out. There were a couple things I wanted to, as I was playing, there were a couple things that I had not covered that I wanted to cover. One of the things that guitars, because they're tuned in fourths, they can actually reach, they do a lot of sort of stuff where they'll play a note on one string and they'll play the same note on the other string, and it gives you this. And then you'll also see where they play that note on a string, and then they'll play the same note after it on another string. That was did this on the Satriani tune that I played earlier. So that's a really common thing. It's a thing that you hear a lot, and that's how you do it. You can either play it if you're, if you can't reach it on the string underneath, or you can reach it. Whichever way is easier for you to do. I did that on my tune I just played for. So yeah, a lot of that stuff. There is also, yeah, we had some little quick grinds in there. What else? Any other questions? Let me flip through. So there were some questions I was going to answer. Oh yeah, somebody had asked me the difference between a Barbera and the True Tone. So this is with the Barbera. Let's grab True Tone. It's going to take a second to hook all this stuff up. You guys always have to ask for the hard stuff. So let me switch this off. Where is the True Tone? Is there a True Tone up here? Yes, there is. So one of the issues with True Tone is you can't get a True Tone with more than 5 strings. Because the 6th string, that F string, gets me within a half step of the bottom note of a guitar. So if I only have a 5 string, I can only get so far down on the scale, and you can't get a 6 string True Tone. So the best you can do is a 5, and that's fine. We can live with it. Let's go to the real meaty thing. This is where you're gonna hear a big difference. Keep reaching for that 6th string, sorry. Yeah, where you're hearing here, you're not getting the thunder that you get with a Barbera. You can hear a lot of gain. There's a lot of gain there. There's no thunder underneath. I'm not sure how much you're hearing on these cell phone mics and speakers, but I don't feel it in my chest the way I do with a Barbera. So that's the biggest difference. Yes, you save a fair amount of money by going to the True Tone. And a lot of the tones they make are really nice. This is run through my impulse response. So yeah, it sounds nice. It's a good sound pickup. It doesn't have the same kind of just hind end in it that a Barbera does. So that's what you give up when you switch to this pickup. And I hope that answered whoever's question that was. Okay, any more questions? You guys got questions? I'm gonna unplug this thing, and if I don't see any more questions pop up, I'm gonna sign off. If you want, you can dump some questions in the comment section, and I'll answer those the best I can. in the next couple hours. So, all right, that's what I got for today. I don't know what the live stream schedule is going to look like for the rest of the year. Things start getting a little nutty around here as we get closer to Christmas. So we'll do our best to keep these things popping. I should be around on Wednesdays, but if we got 30 people in the store trying to buy stuff, I'm not going to try to do a live stream in the middle of that. So if you guys have ideas for stuff you want to know, as always, shoot me a message or something and say, hey, can you do a live stream on whatever? Because I got to come up with one of these once a week, and it's hard. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks again for hanging out. Play loud, play proud.